It is September 28th, 2019. Today was a mile marker of sorts for me, uh, rooted in music and I guess considered music therapy. Uh, in 2003, I had a bad car wreck, and then in 2004, a song came out, and somewhere between 2002 and 2004 or 5, I did a lot of karaoke, and that was to get over the fear of singing in front of people. Started out and then fell in love with it. Very therapeutic, but song came out, and I was like, man, that's a good song. I started kind of learning the lyrics, and uh, when I actually tried singing it, though, it'd get me choked up. I'd start crying. I mean, it'd trigger it. And kind of was like, that's odd response. Don't have songs that I try to sing that make me get all weepy. Uh, and think it has actually, setting this goal, I think has actually helped me with some PTSD from that wreck that took a long time to figure out what the trigger was, but we'll get into that another time. But today is the first time I was able to sing along with that song in the car because I would like to do it at karaoke sometime because it's a great song and it touches on a lot of feelings. "Live Like You Were Dying" by Tim McGraw is while my history is not what they were talking about, I get it, and it's good words to live by. Uh, you know, we can go anytime. I've had many opportunities. Somehow I'm still here, and I've actually been skydiving, and they're like, oh, are you, I do your research, check out what's the best place to go skydiving. You can always check incident reports and all that, but I've had way more opportunities to die from car wrecks and weird health stuff that didn't see it coming. Um, but I did it today. And uh, thanks to a lot of friends and just people that I've crossed paths with that have been saying, Tavo, Dave, you need to write a book or you need to do a YouTube channel. Well, I'm making a step forward for that. So we'll see where it goes. But thank you for your support, um, my friends, my family, um, and finding how much support you have has to do with trusting the people around you, uh, and not keeping everything bottled up inside so much. And then there's also the balance of I got to a point where I overshared too, just too much too soon about my entire life. But I think I've gotten a little better about that too. And anyhow, um, we'll see where this video thing goes. And there's too many people to thank. I try to draw something from everybody I cross paths with. I think everybody has. I firmly believe everybody has something to offer the world around them. Um, and you may be surprised at what it is you have to offer the people around you and what it is that the people around you truly love about you. Sometimes it's not the things that we think. Oh, I bet they love this about me. No, sometimes it's surprising things. Um, but to speak real quick to anybody that's gone through trauma, which is pretty much everybody, we've all. I mean, we're born into this world, and our first experiences are traumatic. I mean, you've been stuck inside of a belly where everything's been muted and dark, and now all of a sudden, color, light, full on unmuted sound. Life is trauma. Some traumas are actually fun traumas. A roller coaster ride, a dance with somebody you've wanted to dance with, a kiss with somebody you've wanted to kiss. It's it's startling to the senses, and then we go, "Oh, this is a good thing." Hey, this is. But for the other types of traumas, you're not alone. Somebody has had an almost identical situation to you. It's unfortunate that we've had the traumas that we've had, but no, you're not alone. And I'll tell you, the thing that has helped me is looking online and reading other people's stories. It's been how I've changed my life and learned to feel a lot better by changing things. I've changed diet, I've changed behaviors, I've a lot of stuff, and the more stuff I've changed, the less stress and the less anxiety I've had, and it makes a difference. You've got a lot more power inside of you than you know, and you talk to the right people. And sometimes old friends need to be gone, and sometimes old friends need to be kept, and sometimes there's room for new friends. Life is short from a certain perspective, and sometimes it feels long, and it doesn't feel so long and drawn out if we don't keep ourselves alone and we trust people. Yeah, there's people that'll hurt you, but there's a lot of wonderful people out there that I am very thankful for, and you have contributed to my life in a positive way. And I've you wonder if you're one of those people. I've probably said, I appreciate you. I've tried to make sure I tell everybody that, hey, I love you and I appreciate you and thank you in some shape, size, or form. That's how we get through this. It's not worth doing it alone. It's great to have some alone time. Absolutely. You need to get in touch with who you are. One of the biggest life changing things for me was learning to face myself. And there's nothing harder than learning how to be honest with yourself and how to look at yourself and your behaviors and go, I'm responsible for this mess. I had a hand in it. You're the common denominator in everything in your life, whether you're on time or late or early or said yes or no, or you're the common denominator. One of the most liberating things is to start facing yourself and going, what am I doing that's potentially making my life more stressful than it has to be? And it's a very surprising thing when I started. Once you start looking and start kind of weeding some things out, you start going, wait a second, what else is a bad habit that I have? Uh, what's a caustic part of my personality that is making my life harder than it has to be? And start listening to how you talk, start listening to the tone you talk. It's even worth it to take a look in the mirror and have some conversations with yourself and look at your facial expressions. Sometimes people have a lot more of a scowl on their face than they realize. Maybe not even that they're bad. Maybe because they're hurting. Maybe because they had a bad day. That's another thing. Learn how to separate your problems. Makes it a lot easier. Keep them. It's a hokey thing that I've tell myself, but it's like the song. You gotta keep them separated. That something I've told myself so many times when I'm having a bad day and go, wait, this is separate than the rest of my day, or this thing is separate from the rest of my life. Don't let this bleed into that. That, whether it's a relationship, a job, could even be a car, because cars have problems, just like we have. Keep them separate. Yep, you're responsible for a lot of things, but keep them separate. Don't let all of these problems lump up together. You can't take care of them all simultaneously. And you can work a little bit on this one, a little bit on that one, and you start carving them down. And ask friends, hey, how did you do this? Hey, you went through this terrible thing. How did you do it? If you see people around you who you know have been through hell, and you know them and you trust them, ask them what they did. Uh, one of the it's kind of like people who go through AA. You're talking to somebody else who's had a trauma, or have had a situation that led them to drinking, and or they fell into it. I've known a lot of people who've gone through and had to change something, and not everybody starts drinking for the same reasons. But finding out what other people have done to get out of that situation give you an idea. It's hard to get organized on thoughts when you're going through a lot anyway, and then emotions and alcohol just they don't mix. Um, but let's get back to the other. I'll wrap this up. Um, I've had a lot of traumas. Um, uh, in hindsight, I'm very blessed to have had the traumas that I've had, and been around the right people, and learned to ask the right questions, and learned to have certain habits that have helped me tremendously be in a much better place, considering all the stuff that I've had happen that's very confusing and very disorienting to your daily life, let alone your yearly life or your long term life and plans. I've had to change life plans multiple times in my life because of things that have happened. And that's a heartbreaking scenario when you had planned to do this thing or that thing, or, you know, go to school for that, or follow that hobby and see if it leads into a career, and then you can't do it. Well, then you get together another group of plans and ideas, and then that gets headed off. And so you regroup, but in the middle, you learn how to healthily deal with this stuff. You're not alone. Your situation is unique to you, no disputing that, but you're not alone. There's a lot of people who've had similar situations, and they're out there. They're on here. They're on. There's a lot of people online. That's where I've found a lot of stuff of people consistent and persistent, persistent and consistent. You're not going to change your situation overnight. While it may have happened like that, there are habits you can start. Rethinking your habits, rethinking your thinking habits. It can be done. Believe me, I'm not the only one that's done it. Facing yourself, talking to people. You're not alone. There's a lot of help out there, and along the way, you might not have even been the idea, but you start helping other people. And that in itself is very rewarding, to stumble onto helping people. But you also reach a point that you want to help